Hello everyone, this is Ray Space here in Kerbal Space Program 1.12 of RSS-Interstellar. That's Real Solar System, Real Exoplanets, and KSP-Interstellar. So those three mods in particular, though there are other mods involved, but those are the most important ones for what we're doing. And I'm here with the third possible option for traveling to another star system without warp drives, and that's the Buzzard fusion engine. So last time we did antimatter, this time we're back to fusion. The Daedalus engine was a fusion engine, but this fusion engine gets 2.7 million seconds of ISP, so it's about double the efficiency. The trick is that it uses solid hydrogen. I don't know why. Why does the Buzzard fusion engine need solid hydrogen? Does it really? I guess that makes it super efficient. But the key principle here is that we're going to scoop fuel, and I guess we're going to convert it to solid hydrogen. Hopefully this will work out. There are two possible scoops. There's a atmospheric particle scoop. Oops. No, go back to scoops, please. Atmospheric particle scoop that gets stuff out of a planet's atmosphere. I don't think we're going to want to do that, even if it says low orbit or anything. So I've put on the magnetic scoop, which says solar wind radiation belts at interstellar space. Hopefully it'll work out for us. And we'll cheat it into orbit, but I've got huge tanks of solid hydrogen here. Ideally, we wouldn't want that, mainly because they seem like really cheaty tanks. They seem like cheaty tanks because if you take a look at the dry mass is only 69 tons for a wet mass of 743 tons for solid hydrogen. I expect that it'll take a lot more effort to keep solid hydrogen solid. So I don't think you can do that in low mass. And then it's sort of doubling this up because it says the wet mass. Well, I think when they say wet mass, they mean that's the fuel. The actual wet mass is 812. Still, it's very light considering we're carrying 743 tons of solid hydrogen. But anyway, with this amount of solid hydrogen, we get 22 million meters per second, which is comparable to what we got with the single stage, about the same sized version of the radiant drive with all the antimatter tanks, except we were carrying much less actual antimatter and it was mostly tank. But anyway, here we have 3,000 tons and we're getting 22 million. The optimal for this stage, for this engine would be 27 million, so we could probably size it up a little bit. But it's sort of in the same ballpark as the Daedalus engine and the radiant drive, regardless of the ISP, but we can do better. You'll note that we're burning this in 153 days, so it's relatively low thrust, but we could just scale that up to improve upon it. Or I don't know what effect changing the reactor would be. We've got fairly small reactors. If we scale that up, reactor and generator, doesn't seem to do anything. So doesn't seem like we need a bigger reactor at all. Okay, but that's the situation. And let's take it outside and see if it actually works. On the bright side, it doesn't immediately try to explode, so that's good. Let's get a fair distance up. It's a big nozzle. I don't know why it has to be a big nozzle exactly, but it's an even bigger scoop. I don't know if the scoop's gonna work for us. Activate collector. What are you gonna collect exactly? Atmosphere hydrogen collected. It has atmosphere hydrogen collected here, but that seems like an awful small amount. 16,000 kilonewtons, 17,000 nearly. Oh, what the heck just flew? Oh, those are the fairings. Seems like it's using 7.4 solid hydrogen per second. Now, it itself carries some liquid hydrogen for some reason. Okay, I guess we're using the liquid hydrogen and turning it into solid hydrogen here. So with these sliders, I think we can convert. But are we really getting any hydrogen to convert anyway? It's a lot of stuff. Collecting solar wind. Well, it might be collecting solar wind, but we're not getting much. I don't know if this can really replenish us on the fly, or whether we just need to have the solid hydrogen. It is converting... The fact that we are converting the liquid hydrogen into solid hydrogen does raise the question, would it be better to just carry the liquid hydrogen? It would certainly feel a little bit more legit. In the middle of nowhere, I don't think the boil-off is going to be that high. I mean, we're going to be farther and farther away from the sun. The maximum effective ISP, it says here, is actually 3.3 million, even though up there it says 2.7 still. I never quite understood how the numbers in KSP Interstellar actually work. This is supposed to be acting like a magnetic nozzle. But then this max effective thrust is 3,600, but there it's 17,000. All very peculiar. Anyway, it's working. And from these tanks we can get 22 million seconds of 22 million meters per second of delta V, even if we can't scoop anything. So I'm going to have to add the little module for warp thrust that Pekka made to this Buzzard fusion engine, as well as the radiant drive, so that they can do their thing. Normally, you really don't need it for stuff that isn't efficient. So for normal chemical engines, it's not that important. But the more efficient an engine is, the longer it will burn for very little actual fuel. So anyway, now I want to see whether maybe, because it'll feel more legit to be carrying liquid fuel. We know we can contain liquid hydrogen. So, and then we'll just have the fusion engine convert it to solid hydrogen on the fly. So would that be better? Well, the problem is I don't think it'll show us how much delta V we are going to get. Yeah, it's only counting the delta V from the solid hydrogen here. So we can do this, but we don't really know. Does it convert fast enough, really? I think I'm also going to add a token hydrogen tank, gaseous hydrogen tank, to see if that helps with the scoop. So that we're the same mass, but we're never actually going to know whether we have 22 million meters per second, because it only counts the solid hydrogen. And actually our dry mass compared to wet mass is worse than with the solid hydrogen. Which seems wrong. Which seems wrong. Yeah, this is much worse. So we're probably getting less delta V from carrying the liquid hydrogen. Even the magic tanks, I think, aren't going to do so well. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the solid hydrogen tanks were 69 tons dry. This is 80. So... but still, it'd make me feel better if we were carrying liquid hydrogen instead. Because those tanks are clearly cheaty. I mean, you know, there's cheaty and there's cheaty. Obviously, having fusion engines in the first place is sort of dubious, but which is more dubious? Solid hydrogen in tanks that are that light, or a fusion engine? I'll leave that to you guys. We've got this thermal power generator not connected to a power source problem again. That sometimes seems to happen. And for some reason I didn't have the radiators on both sides. That's not great. Anyway, let me just see. Oh, I've got all the radiators on one side now. That can happen for some reason. But what we want to do is see if we can convert the liquid hydrogen into solid hydrogen quickly enough. I mean, it seems like we use 9 liquid hydrogen to produce 7.4 units of solid hydrogen. But it depends on the density whether that's a good exchange or not. You know, Is that a good mass exchange? I'm not sure. Or are we losing a lot of mass in that? We shouldn't, right? I mean, don't know how to make solid hydrogen though. But we are keeping up the solid hydrogen, we're not depleting it. So this rate of converting liquid hydrogen to solid hydrogen is enough so that we can just basically straight up use this liquid hydrogen instead. Now the scoop. Maybe I'll try the atmospheric scoop. Those fairings from the scoop really like to bump into everything. Okay, the Buzzard Ramjet just exploded. What I want to try to do is use the atmospheric scoop, because that's what I did in the video. Atmosphere particle scoop. The previous video where I used a Buzzard fusion engine. And I'll set it up near Jupiter, which is what I did in that video as well. And make it larger. Power usage happens. Hopefully, now that I've doubled the radiators, put them on both sides, the fusion drive won't actually explode. Okay, well, let's see if deploying it right now kills anything. Oh yeah, time warping will get rid of the fairings. That's a good point. Start atmospheric extraction. Toggle refinery window. Well, it seems to see hydrogen in abundance, 90%. This slider, with its percentage, doesn't seem to work the way I think it ought to. There isn't like a 0 point where it's not converting. Even if I shut down the engine. So it always converts. And the numbers are weird, because here, positive amount of liquid hydrogen. Here, negative amount of liquid hydrogen. But down here, positive amount of liquid hydrogen, which is the same as this number. And then here, up here, it's negative amount of liquid hydrogen. So that seems a bit busted. It says extracting atmosphere, that's its status. We aren't in an atmosphere. So I don't think it works around here. I think we do need the magnetic scoop, but it didn't seem to be doing a whole lot either. Well, whatever, we'll try our best. Let me make the tanks a little bit bigger, and we'll just go to Proxima Centauri. Why not? Let's have some Kerbals on board while we're at it. We've got 6 Kerbals. We're gonna try the recycler. So we're gonna try to recycle the water and oxygen using the water purifier and carbon extractor. And if they perish, we'll have to fix things. Okay, so I don't know how much we're actually getting. But we're gonna have 20-meter tanks. I have no idea how much delta V we have. It'd be better if I just carried a solid hydrogen. But I'm going to use the tank quantity as my proxy for when to stop burning. Okay, well, here we are. We have Kerbals this time. And we are going to go to Proxima Centauri. We, in theory, have the Time Warp plugin. I'll double check that in a sec. So, you have warp thrust. It says warp thrust, okay? So that's fine. And we want the radiators out. The delta V reading's not gonna be right because we are converting on the fly. The scoop will try to collect something or another. It's not really a ramjet if it's not going to actually collect stuff. We probably need a bigger collector, but I would like to know whether it collects anything at all first. Okay, that's Alpha. Oop, Proxima's there. We can't really see the dot for Proxima, but it's there. Alpha we can see. Okay, this is actually deorbiting around Earth for a bit. Or changing inclination or something, but our orbit is decreasing, but that's fine. We are now going to go to SAS, hold our target, and see if this works. Well, it's definitely changing our orbit during time warp, so it is working. Oh, before I forget, oops. We need to see whether in time warp. Oh, it did throttle down or something. Okay, there we go. We need to have the carbon extractor and water purifier on. So that'll be important. Hopefully they're not gonna run out of supplies. Hopefully 90 years is enough time to get there. Given our delta V. Which I don't know. I don't actually know our delta V, so we're hoping that we have enough. Okay, time warping again. We are already on escape from Earth. We should now be on escape from the solar system too. We're going to be going a lot faster. I think for waterfall engines, Pekka has fixed the plume issue, but I don't know if this was a waterfall engine or not. Okay, we just went into solar space. Okay, 1.6 million. As far as the liquid hydrogen is concerned, we're pretty well off. I think we can continue like this for a bit. 4 million. 6 million. 8 million, 10. Well, no, I'm not entirely sure we're going to have enough delta V to slow down like this. Gotta try for 15 million, but I honestly don't know if we can slow down right now. Because I'm looking at the liquid hydrogen and we're not really getting enough. We've got some solar wind. That's collected a bit. Okay, 15 million. So that's 5% of the speed of light. Insufficient storage. Well, we are full up on solar wind. Now, how do I convert to hydrogen even? Maybe I need some other converter. It's probably what we need. Maybe. Okay. Now the long time warp to Proxima Centauri. Okay, we are at full time. Oh no, electric charge depleted. It didn't keep track of it properly. Uh-oh. So we can't go full time warp. Oh, it's even depleting. Oh no, it stabilized the megajoules there briefly. It's going down, but I think on the next time warp I can't do it. All the electric charge will go. So this is gonna take about an hour. And the water is also going down now. And it's going down about the same pace as everything else. So here it's going up. Going up, because it's taking the wastewater and dealing with it. But you can see at this point the wastewater starts going up again, so it's not recycling the wastewater. And then if I go to the next level, it's okay-ish. And if I go to the next level, it starts going down. The water starts going down. So something about this ship is a little bit more troublesome. Well, on the dataless ship version, I didn't have the Kerbals on board, so the food, water, and oxygen wasn't getting depleted at all. So that's why we now have this problem. Well, I can't do maximum time warp because of the electric charge. That just won't work. I can try to risk this time warp and hope that the water will come back when I go to a lower time warp, but I'm not too sure. Alright, we are now within 10 petameters of our target, and I've been carefully managing the time warp so that the water doesn't all go away. You can see at this time warp it replenishes, at the next level it does not. It really doesn't actually, I mean, it doesn't really go away that much. You can see the clean water here, and it's still like, what, 80% there? It's just this number that is wrong. So, actually our oxygen is fine too. Our food is what's going away most, but even our food is not too bad off. Did we have 6 people, yeah. So, considering we're 65 years in, they haven't been eating as much as I thought they would. But so we might have carried a little bit of extra. But this number is just not tracking with it. I mean, even with the food, I don't see how, when we've used that much in 65 years, why we'd only have 25 years left, right? Because that's more than half left of the food. We would expect to have more than 66 years left. So life support isn't kept track of very well, is the point. So that's been a problem. As we go along, we do slow down because the sun is still pulling on us, apparently, even though right at this point we should be speeding up because the Alpha Centauri should be pulling on us, or Proxima wouldn't pull on us that much, but Alpha Centauri would be pulling on us. So I don't know why we're still slowing down, but that's because of the implementation of these other star systems in Kerbal. So we are not trying to slow down yet. So I will continue trying to manage the time warp. It's taken a long time. This is a many-hour journey in real life. So yeah, I would much rather send just cargo than than any form of life, anything that consumes life support. But we must ultimately test it with the life support, and so that's what we're doing. And an interesting thing I just noticed is that at this time warp, the liquid hydrogen depletes. It seems to detect some boil off like that, but at this time warp, it doesn't. So we've been losing some liquid hydrogen whenever I go into the next level of time warp, which I really don't need because we don't have that much liquid hydrogen. Hopefully the fact that we've been consuming some food, water, and oxygen means that we'll be lighter by the time we need to slow down, but I don't know right now whether we have enough delta V to slow down from 15 million meters per second. We are getting closer and closer, 5.6 petameters. Proxima Centauri is right there. We do not yet have any indication of an approach to it right now. So, yep, but we're pretty close on course for the moment. Every now and again, the distance to target does a little dance where it's not really certain about whether I'm getting closer or further away, if you can see that. Many inaccuracies are involved in trying to go to another star system in Kerbal Space Program at these distances. Okay, well, I'm just going for it at this point. We should have more than 10 years of water and 11 years of food and all, but I think 10 years will do the trick anyway. Proxima is a little bit harder to hit than Alpha Centauri. Its SOI is smaller. We are currently gonna miss it a bit. Uh-oh, it says food is running out. No, that's just because we're at 10%. Not really running out. Oh, but because of the way it pulled us out of time warp, it's not updating that water amount. Even though, oh, now it's really taking the water away. Oh boy. I think the way that jerked us out of time warp has messed up the calculation. Well, still, I think we have enough right now. We might as well turn retrograde while we're out of time warp, though. We need to use a little bit of thrust to turn because we don't have any other way of turning. We have a reaction wheel, but it's too weak. Okay, I've turned around, but it's not time to retroburn yet. Okay, we're deviating enough now that I want to slow down here and push the retrograde vector towards our target, lest we totally miss Proxima. Let's see how we do. That ascending and descending node is getting closer to Proxima, if that means anything. Okay, now we've got something. Got a line that's going this way instead of towards Sol. This whole business is, of course, slowing us down, which means it's taking us longer to get there. Alright, now we have a closest approach distance. 1 year, 40 days. And climbing. But I don't think we have enough liquid hydrogen. So we're not gonna be able to slow down. I don't think. Not all the way. So we have way too much food, water, and oxygen, as it turns out, and way too little hydrogen. Now, if I had carried just the solid hydrogen and not liquid hydrogen, probably we'd be better off. Another problem is just trying to figure out how to get the scoops to actually scoop something that we can use. Probably if I had a solar wind converter, that would help. I'll have to take a look at where those are hiding. After all, KSP Interstellar has a lot of parts, and it's tough to find things in it sometimes. And that leaves us 6.6 million meters per second short, so that's not good. So I'll have to rebalance this out, but it's our first time with crew, and now they're stranded in the middle of nowhere. But yeah. And so we saw how the recycling systems actually work, but that might vary depending on how I time warp. But anyway, I can adjust for that, and we can set our food, water, and oxygen levels different, though it's actually still trying to catch up here. You can see it's still trying to reset. That's not how much they normally consume. So yeah, it's making adjustments, and I have to make adjustments too. So with that, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.